Did you know that a sold out concert doesn't always mean every ticket was actually sold? Or that some of the biggest luxury brands barely pay their ambassadors, unless you're a Hollywood A-lister. And here's another one. Just because a song is labeled self produced doesn't mean it's good. Today, we're busting some of the biggest myths that K pop fans still believe, from inflated follower counts to manipulated chart placements. Let's dive into the truth behind the illusion. Gangnam Style's organic virality. For years, the narrative surrounding Gangnam Style has been that it was purely organic, viral hit. A quirky, infectious song that skyrocketed to global fame without any marketing push or industry backing. But that's a myth, and a huge one at that. Yes, the song was catchy, and yes, the dance was iconic, but make no mistake, money, connections, and strategic marketing were very much involved. When Scooter Braun, the man who launched Justin Bieber's career and helped push hits like Call Me Maybe, discovered Gangnam Style, it had fewer than 60,000 views on YouTube. Braun immediately saw its potential and went to work. He orchestrated a marketing blitz that included radio airplay, paid advertising, and strategic media placements. Braun established networks and proven marketing tactics turned a local Korean hit into a global sensation, not by chance, but by design. Both Psy and Braun have openly discussed how they leveraged those tactics to catapult Gangnam Style to the top of Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 2, a feat they tried to replicate with Gentleman, which hit number 5 but couldn't capture the same lightning in a bottle. The reality is that in today's music landscape, there's no such thing as purely organic viral hit. Even artists who were initially discovered in platforms like YouTube or SoundCloud, such as Justin Bieber and Billie Eilish, eventually signed with major labels that poured millions into marketing, PR, and distribution. The takeaway: viral doesn't mean free. Viral means you've got a product that can spread, but to make it spread, you still need a powerful machine of money, influence, and connection behind it. And Gangnam Style was no exception. Spotify monthly listeners matter. Spotify monthly listeners may sound impressive, but it's a highly misleading metric. It doesn't necessarily mean millions of people are actively streaming your songs. It just means they listened to you once in the past 28 days, probably for 30 seconds, and that's it. Think about it. If someone listens to your song for, 30 seconds, they're counted as a monthly listener. And they stay in that count for a full 28 days. Meanwhile, someone else who streams your songs 100 times in that same period carries just as much weight as the one passive listener. It's a metric that can easily be inflated without reflecting real engagement. And here's where it gets even murkier: 30 seconds equals one stream. Spotify considers any play, at least 30 seconds, as a full stream. This has led to an entire industry of playlist services that, for a fee, can get your track placed in hundreds of playlists, guaranteeing those precious 30-second plays. Pay to play playlists. For as little as $300, you can buy your way onto playlists that can rack up thousands of quality streams, essentially gaming the system without building a genuine fan base. Spotify's own promotion program. Even Spotify itself has a mechanism where artists can give up a portion of their royalties in exchange for increased exposure through algorithmic recommendations, but that exposure doesn't necessarily translate into meaningful streams. A perfect example of this illusion is Rosé's Messy. Despite boasting over 46 million monthly listeners, the track barely hit 700,000 streams on its first day. The gap between perceived popularity and actual listener engagement was glaring. Bottom line, monthly listeners may look impressive, but they're just a vanity metric. The real measure of success: how many people are repeatedly streaming your music, not just hitting play once for 30 seconds and moving on. Sold out means 100% of the tickets were sold. When a concert is labeled sold out, it doesn't always mean every ticket was bought by fans. Often, it's just a marketing tactic to create buzz and FOMO. Who calls it sold out? Venues are the only credible source for official ticket sales data. Management companies often jump the gun, declaring sellout to hype demand, even if seats remain unsold. What sold out really means? Some venues claim a sellout at 95% capacity, even if seats are still empty. But here is where it gets interesting. Management can buy back unsold tickets or give them away, creating the illusion of a packed house. So, how do you spot the real numbers? Check ticketing websites 2 days before the show. If tickets are still available, it's not really sold out. Look at crowd photos. Empty seats at a sold out show indicate inflated claims. Free tickets, the hidden strategy. Artists and promoters often give away free tickets to fill seats and maintain appearance of success, especially when ticket sales are low. Bottom line, sold out is often a marketing ploy, not a measure of actual demand. The real numbers, they're only known by the venue, not the management pushing the narrative. Today's top hits, or TTH, is a measure of a song's popularity or success. When a song lands on Spotify's Today's Top Hits, it's easy to assume it's one of the most popular tracks globally. But in reality, that playlist is less about actual popularity and more about industry influence and label power. Let's be real. How can a song debut in the top 10 of today's top hits within hours of release, long before they've had time to accumulate significant streams or fan traction? Major labels pay for prime placement, leveraging their budgets and connection to secure top spots. It's a calculated push, not an organic rise. So, how is the game played? Playlist placement as a commodity. In the US, major labels have been known to negotiate or pay for playlist slots, treating today's top hits like prime advertising real estate. If a label wants to push a new single, they'll use their leverage to get in front and center, regardless of how many people are actually listening to it. Streaming manipulation. Some tracks may have a fraction of the streams of other songs, yet they sit comfortably at the top of the playlist. This is because the label has essentially bought that visibility, betting on the fact that more exposure will generate more streams, creating a self-fulfilling cycle of artificial popularity. Meanwhile, real hits get overlooked. While a new release from a major artist is sitting at number 2 on today's top hits with minimal streams, other songs that are genuinely trending on social media, actually racking up millions of views on YouTube, or dominating fan playlists might barely crack the top 50 or not make the list at all. Why? Because they aren't backed by a major label willing to pay for the spot. Spotify's playlists aren't just about streams, they're about who can pay to play. So, why does it matter? For listeners, it creates a false impression of what's actually popular. A song can have a prime position on today's top hits without being a true hit. And that misrepresentation can influence what casual listeners think is worth their time. The bottom line, today's top hits isn't a reflection of what people are listening to. It's a reflection of what the industry wants you to listen to. And in the world of streaming, the lines between organic popularity and manufactured hype have never been blurrier. Follower count matters. Follower numbers can be easily bought and inflated. $100 on Fiverr can get you 10,000 followers. But they are often bots or inactive accounts, not real fans. Engagement over followers. The real metric that matters is engagement, not follower count. A creator with 100,000 followers and 10% engagement rate is more valuable than someone with 1 million followers with only 1% engagement rate. Even top influencers with massive followings can struggle to generate genuine interaction. Why? Because many of those followers are inactive or uninterested, making the numbers meaningless. So brands are really looking for engagement rate. Are people actively interacting with content? Conversion rate. are followers taking action, like clicking links or making purchases. Authenticity, are the followers real and relevant to your target audience? Bottom line, follower count is just a number. True influence comes from real engagement and authentic connection. Luxury brands pay a lot. When it comes to luxury brand partnerships, the assumption is that they pay big money. But in reality, unless you're a top tier star, the cash isn't nearly as impressive as you'd think. Luxury brands operate on the principle of exclusivity and prestige, not mass appeal. They don't need to throw massive paychecks to influencers or celebrities to maintain their image. For rising stars and mid tier celebs, the compensation is often low or even non existent, but the payoff comes in a different form. Branding. Associating with a top tier brand like Dior, Chanel, Louis Vuitton elevates a celebrity's perceived market value, positioning them as a person of influence and taste. So, why do they do it? For emerging stars, getting attached to a luxury brand is a credibility boost, opening doors to more lucrative opportunities down the line. It's not about the immediate paycheck, it's about the long game, red carpet invites, magazine covers, and high profile endorsement. It's a strategic move to align their personal brand with luxury, signaling to other brands that they are high status and aspirational. Of course, there are exceptions to the rules. Anne Hathaway, Margot Robbie, BTS, and the individual members. Anne Hathaway and Margot Robbie, BTS, and the members don't need luxury brands to validate their star power. They're established, in demand, and command high fees regardless of the brand. For them, working with luxury brand is more about aesthetics alignment and personal interest rather than a financial necessity. A global ambassador doesn't mean you are the main ambassador globally. Just because someone is a global ambassador doesn't equate to being the face of the brand globally. Marketers and brands know that certain celebrities appeal to certain countries better. Sabrina Carpenter may be a big celebrity in the US, but she's no match to Angelababy in China. The title is given for marketing leverage in their assigned region. For example, a Chinese ambassador for Chanel might seem more prestigious to China if they are deemed to be global ambassadors, even if their campaigns are local. Flexibility in campaign targeting is another reason. Declaring an ambassador as global provides flexibility to repurpose content across different regions without renegotiating terms or rebranding. This is cost effective and ensures brand consistency. Albums sold doesn't necessarily mean number of albums bought by customers. When it comes to counting CDs or albums sold, the term sold doesn't always mean bought by consumers. Retail orders count as sales. When an artist releases an album, retail stores, both physically and online, place orders for a certain number of units based on anticipated demand. These orders are considered guaranteed sales, meaning they are counted as sold as soon as they leave the distribution center and are shipped to the retailer, regardless of whether they are eventually purchased by consumers. For example, if a major retail orders 100,000 copies of an album, those 100,000 units are counted as sold, even if they remain on a store shelves or in warehouses. Online comments represent the majority. In K-pop, the gap between online narratives and reality is vast. Rumors can spread like wildfire, but the loudest voices online rarely represent the majority. When Soojin, formerly of G-Idol, now Idol, was accused of bullying, she was dragged through the mud by online forums, labeled a bully before evidence emerged. Months later, the charges were dropped. People tried to backtrack, but it's too late. She's out of the group, and that cannot be undone. Min Hee-jin versus Hybe. Min accused Hybe of stealing her concepts, and online outrage exploded. Yet in court, Hybe's evidence debunked her claim, but the damage to their image was already done. Yes, public opinion shifted, but the initial hate already damaged many other groups under Hybe. Remember that there is a machinery behind viral narratives. PR firms and fan communities can profit from spreading false narratives, generating clicks and engagement regardless of the truth. Media manipulation is another thing. Companies can pay to amplify certain stories, drowning out inconvenient facts with sensationalized headlines. And of course, there is the silent majority. Most people aren't leaving comments or engaging in fan wars. They're just living their lives, consuming music, and moving on. But the internet only remembers the loudest voices, not the truth. Self composed and self produced doesn't always mean good. Being a self composed and self produced artist is often seen as the peak of artistic integrity, but it's not a guarantee of quality. Authenticity versus quality. A self produced track may feel more personal, but doesn't mean it's well executed. Weak structure, poor mixing, or repetitive lyrics can diminish its impact. There's also the echo chamber effect. Without outside input, self produced songs can suffer from creative tunnel vision, lacking polish or commercial appeal. There's the marketing strategy. The self produced label can be more about branding than talent, creating a false perception of artistry. Execution versus intention. Great self produced work requires both vision and skill, as even with artists like Prince or RM of BTS. Otherwise, the label just highlights the flaws. So remember, self produced doesn't automatically mean better, it just means you did it yourself. Marketing is half psychology, well, a third psychology, a third sociology, and a third creative work. um, there's a lot of devising ways and just really coming up with ideas out of nowhere on how you can market something. And then the other aspect of it is knowing how your idea will play into the bigger social construct. And finally, and probably most importantly, how that's going to land, motivate, or push the end consumer to do what it is that you want them to do. And I think the only sad part about it is that you actually know exactly when people are making a choice versus being convinced or brainwashed into doing something or believing something. And unfortunately, marketing is way more common and way more rampant than we perceive it to be, because the practice itself, the discipline itself, has been around for thousands of years, that we kind of don't realize that almost everything that we do has been marketed to us. and and even art, even what we like, our tastes, what we like consuming, what we like being a part of our lives, a huge part of it is really marketing. We were conditioned, we were convinced that these things are the things that will be good for us and the things that we will like. And yeah, music is definitely a part of it. So all of these things, the how K-pop fans measure success and what they think to be superior art or superior entertainment, these are more often than not, probably 99% of the time, really a product of marketing. So it would be good. It's actually, that is why it's so nice for us to get out of our comfort zone every once in a while, because that's when we actually really discover what we like, what we truly, truly like, and what truly resonates with us. Okay, I hope you enjoy that. There's definitely a lot more myths and misconceptions and even lies out there. I would be happy to do a part two. Just let me know in the comment section below. You can also just leave a comment whether you have your own input or there's something that you disagree with. Say whatever it is that you want to say, for as long as you do it respectfully. And more importantly, please like the video, subscribe and hit that notification button and share it. Please share it to your social media, to your friends, paste it, send it to through SMS, through Kakao, through WhatsApp, whatever. That's really the biggest help. And please follow me on X and also on IG. But more importantly, please be a member of our Patreon community. It's a diverse one, very dynamic. We have a lot of fun and we discuss a lot of things, not just BTS, not just K-pop. So I hope to see you there. And we do have a free tier just in case you want to try things out first. I'll see you.